Spring is on the horizon, which means there are a ton of fingerboard events coming up. Some of these fingerboard events have contests as well, and I've seen multiple people asking how they can improve their chances of placing well at a competition. Well, I do have years of fingerboarding contest experience and figured I could share some tips that may help you a little bit. In this video, we will be discussing what does a fingerboard contest entail, what contest formats are there, and lastly, what are some strategies on how to place the best you possibly can in a fingerboarding contest. Now, I don't guarantee that by watching this video, you will win a fingerboard contest, but I do guarantee that by watching this video and incorporating these tips and techniques, you will place better than you would have if you have not watched. But before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, answer the following question for me in the comments. Have you competed in a fingerboarding contest before? If so, what was your experience there? Alright, so first, what can you expect at a fingerboarding contest? Well, it really depends. There are many contest variants. The event you are attending could have one, two, or many different contests at the event itself. Now let's dive into some of the common contest formats. First, we have the game of skate. The game of skate consists of fingerboarders attempting to perform each other's tricks in succession until there is only one fingerboarder remaining who becomes the winner. It is similar to the game horse, which is played by basketball players. Skate can be flat ground, such as the old Battle at the Herricks events, or on obstacles, which we've seen as the final round for recent Fast Fingers. For the flat ground variant, often there is two lines on the table. The first line marks the point at which one must roll through before they pop the trick. The second line marks where the one must land before and roll through after landing the trick. This ensures smooth movements and cleanliness, and make sure that people don't just do a standstill trick and say it's a fakie flip or a regular kick flip. Strategy-wise, there are a few options that one can do. I see many fingerboarders start with the basics to warm up. The basics include doing an ollie, a nollie, kick flip, fakie flip, nollie flip, switch flip, which is super common, having even people do it in that order. A lot of fingerboarders will have a handful of tricks that they feel really comfortable doing and are consistent with. I recommend following this tactic if it's your first event, just to get over some nerves. Now, if you make it to a later round, you can apply a lot of pressure by foregoing that common strategy of doing the kick flip, fakie flip, blah 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 routine that most fingerboarders do in my experience. If you see a fingerboarder struggling, for example, with switch hard flips in a previous game, hit them with the switch hard flip early and then do a nollie hard flip back to back. That will get 2 letters on them usually right away. A lot of fingerboarders focus on switch and nollie heels, but they also don't practice heel flips and fakie heel flips. So this is an area where you can exploit people to get a lot of letters on fingerboarders. Another area is like a front foot impossible as well. Backside heel flips, fakie backside heel flips. These are tricky, cheeky tricks, and you can get a lot of letters on people really easily if you master those tricks. For games of skate that are played on a fingerboard park, I would stick with more simple variants. So with this, if you're setting the trick, you can do some more simple variants, like a kickflip backside 5-0, which is a relatively easy trick, but a lot of people can't do it in 2 tries. That just puts a lot of pressure on the other person. Another thing you can do is do simple combo grinds, like doing a backside feeble and popping it up into a nose grind, which is a really easy combo to do, but with the pressure of doing it in a contest, a lot of people won't be able to pull it out. Now, the next contest variant, which is best run, is my favorite variant. You get a certain amount of time to ride a park and do as many tricks as you can. I've seen anywhere from 45 seconds to a minute for this. First, one important factor in this is the judging of the contest. Judging is a subjective thing in general. Some judges will be more strict or more lax, and some judges may value different styles or tricks differently than others. So remember, contests are all about fun, so don't get upset about a placing you don't agree with. Additionally, there are a lot of other factors that go into judging. Is the judge or judges experienced at fingerboarding? Do they understand the difference in difficulty in, let's say, a tray flip nose grind or a switch flip backside tailside? Also, where are the judges positioned? Are they positioned close to or far away from the fingerboard park? Is there anything that could block their view? With these questions in mind and concepts in mind, the most important factors, in my opinion, are having consistency and flow. To accomplish those items, we can do relatively simple tricks for us all around the park, making sure we cover as much of the park and obstacles as we can. Also, smooth movement is important as well. I often see fingerboarders trying to do various flip tricks and sticking to trying the same trick over and over again until they land that trick, and then they move to the next obstacle and they try a flip trick again, and they keep trying it over and over again, and then eventually they may land it. In my opinion, this strategy interrupts flow and highlights the inconsistency. Now, I do think you can spend a few attempts trying to do a trick in your run, but honestly, make sure to flow around that park. Also, let's take it from the judge's perspective here. We have 2 fingerboard runs. The first one, we see them trying to do a trick 10 times. It looks like a flip trick into a grind or something, and they finally land it and they roll away. Then they go to the next obstacle, let's say, which is a handrail, and they try another 10 times trying to get into a flip grind combo, and they stop and they just move on. The second person hits a bunch of slides and grinds around the park, does a few flip in variants and some simple flip out variants. They only bail a couple or a few times, but continue to move on after they bail. What do you think a judge is going to prefer? I'd argue 9 times out of 10, they will pick the latter, even if that first fingerboarder does something crazy like a nollie heel backside tail kickflip out as one of their tricks. So we've been watching Elias Asmus run in the background while I was talking about this. Did you notice how smooth and consistent Elias is? This is the reason why he's a 3-time world champion. Right now I'm playing a run that I had at Rendezvous 5 back in 2000. If you watch it, I do miss some tricks here. I move around really quickly and do a lot of tricks back to back to back. I had about 5 misses or so in this run, I'm not counting, but every trick that I miss, I either land the next try or I move on to a different one. After watching everybody else's runs during this footage, I did about 2 to 3 times the tricks that they did in their runs. One critique I do have about this run that I did was that I could have used more of the park, especially like the half pipe side, which is one of my strengths actually. Now here's some footage of me at the Fingerboard Jam in Salem, Oregon. I do miss a kickflip at that bank somehow. I don't let it affect me. I move on and keep on doing random combos.
What?
I actually messed up here with the upside down nollie 5-0, but still out on the board to continue that momentum and almost get an upside down frontside feeble up that rail, which would have been freaking epic. So I have mashed out a bunch of tricks back to back to back. So I spent a little bit of time here trying to do some combos. First I do this half cab, upside down impossible 5-0. I landed on like attempt 5, which is more than I wanted to, but at this point I figured I've done enough tricks for the run. And then I do an impossible backside tail, which took me another 5 tries as well, and I landed right at the buzzer. I was so nervous and jittery during this run, but had so much fun as well. In short, unless you have the exact park that is going to be used during the contest, you won't be able to practice a run actually. Focus most of your run on being smooth and consistent and use the entire park. If you are killing it, go ahead and try a few bangers at the end of the run. Now guys, the best trick contest is a crapshoot, to be honest. I love watching the best trick competition, but I dislike competing in it. There will be multiple people who are going to try their most difficult combos that they can do. If there's a lot of competitors competing in this, someone will most likely land that trick, which, makes the crowd go wild and super exciting at that moment. But here's the deal. There's not too much point in conserving your approach to this contest variant, unlike the Game of Skate or the Best Run contest variants. If there's only a top prize for best trick, just go all out. Plan a trick ahead of time that you know you can land when the pressure's on, but certainly stretch yourself for it. Again, the most important part is to have fun. It's okay to be nervous and anxious before this. Everyone else that's competing feels the exact same way. And while they're watching you, they're not hating on you. They're actually people who are rooting for you. Keep that in mind. Now let's jump into some general tips for contests. First, take a few deep breaths before your start. This will help you calm your nerves. Also remember, as I just said, that everyone there is going to be rooting for you. That's the amazing part of fingerboarders. Overall, fingerboarding has such a positive and vibrant community. So we've covered in-person contests, but what about online contests? We've seen so many formats of online contests over the years, ranging from the old FFI rail jams, which focus around making the best 30-second video using rails as an obstacle, to the Kaiju box battle, which incorporated best trick on a box-shaped obstacle, to Fingerboarding ES's Ride to Glory, which had both a best street and best vert run element. And lastly, we had the legendary Fast Fingers Online, which happened in 2022. In an online contest, it's extremely important to read those contest rules and follow the format to a T. Many entries are disqualified because they did not follow the contest rules. To be honest, in these type of contests, the amount of effort and time you put in will usually correlate with your output. Some generic tips here, use proper lighting. Also, find camera angles that make the trick you do look their best. Be creative in both trick selection and obstacle choices, and make the video entertaining. These are the elements that I have found to be common in the winner or the top placing videos. Also, really push yourself to the limit here on your tricks. I've won quite a few online contests and placed very well in some other prominent contests as well. For example, second in the FFI Rail Jam 2008 and first in the fingerboarding.es Ride to Glory for vert. Both those contests I really pushed myself and I did many tricks that I had never done before. Alright guys, if these tips helped you, and if you've enjoyed this content, let me know in the comments below. Tap that like button, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Have a great day and peace.